Okay, good morning. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Little sip of coffee. Be kind to yourself. Remember, we're here today to talk about kindness and happiness. So, welcome to this morning's April 8th, 2024 Franklin Tomorrow Frank Talks. Thanks for being here this morning. And it's a big day. Who has Eclipse glasses? Okay, well, the rest of you be really careful, okay? We don't want anything bad to happen to you. We certainly don't want anything bad to happen to you. So, good morning. I'm Mindy Tate, CEO of Franklin Tomorrow, and we welcome you to Frank Talks. And I'm going to start by turning it over to Nancy Conway, who's going to ask our trivia question. And I just dropped part of the prize. But we're going to also remind you that this is the Columbia State Community College campus, and they recently were able to unveil a new building, the Arts Building, and it is open for touring. Mary Beth Challey, wave Mary Beth, after the event is happy to give you a quick tour of that building. And we may actually have Frank Talks there in a few months. In that building has a kind of a different setting to it, but I'm excited about that. I'm going to have Nancy come up and ask her question while I pick up the pen I dropped.
Thank you, Mindy, and good morning, everyone. And you look great, and I know before you came in and took a seat, it was very obvious that you were enjoying yourselves. So we're glad you're here. And Mindy, if you would help, and you and Emily check to see who raises their hands first. Okay? Now, quiz question today. What year did Columbia State Community College open at this location? Correct. Okay. Yeah.
Martin Plumley, congratulations. Congratulations, being the prize winner today. Thanks so much. I gotta rearrange myself. So Franklin Tomorrow, we're a community engagement and visioning organization. We'll be celebrating 25 years next year of partnering with the city and other organizations to engage the community, foster collaboration, and then advocate for a shared vision for the future of Franklin. We could not do that without our partnerships, and that includes Atmos Energy. They are a great sustaining partner for Franklin Tomorrow, and we appreciate that. Also, as a sustaining partner, we are pleased to have the support of Williamson Health. And I'm going to invite Greg Brory to come up and give us a little information. And next month, I'll go on and tell you, next month, we'll be working with Williamson Health. Our program will be on emergency services from Williamson Health and the provision of emergency medical services in our community. And they're doing things that other places across the country are not. So we're excited for that, and that'll be our May Frank Talks.
And actually that's going to be part 3 of what we are talking about today. Last month we talked about the new expanded emergency room at Williamson Health. This month we're going to talk about when do you call 911 versus when do you drive yourself to the ER. And then next month we'll have some guests here to talk more about the life-saving technologies of emergency services at Williamson Health, and a couple special guests as well. So on behalf of our 2,100 employees across Williamson County, let's take a look at this video.
Every second counts during an emergency. Knowing when to drive to the ER and when to call 911 could save your life, especially when it comes to chest pain. Hello again, I am Jason Waller, and today at Williamson Medical Center, we're talking about what to do in these high-risk situations, drive or call. Chest pain can be caused by many different things. Some are minor, while others, like heart attacks, mean you need immediate medical attention. Symptoms like intense chest pressure, pain radiating to the arm, shortness of breath, and sudden dizziness are signs of cardiac distress and shouldn't be ignored. But how do you know whether to call 911 or to drive to the ER?
I 100% believe you need to call 911 and let us help you. Those situations would be patient being unresponsive, trouble breathing. Time is of the essence, and so those would be things like stroke, chest pain, heart attack. So symptoms of stroke, facial droop, weakness, numbness, trouble walking, trouble talking.
When you call 911, Williamson Health's EMS team brings high-quality medical response, innovative technology, and evidence-based clinical practices right where you are, and continues emergency care until you reach the hospital.
One case in particular I had just last week was a patient who was having severe chest pain. He called 911. Our medics were able to quickly identify with a readout of his heart that he was having a blockage. He was having a heart attack.
ECall Medic 1 transporting emergency to Williamson.
And so our technology allowed them to send that EKG from the field to me in real time while the patient was still on scene. We were able to reach out to our interventional cardiologists, get our cath lab team in place, and by the time the patient hit the door, having already received medical care, we were able to take that patient actually directly from the EMS stretcher to the cath lab and get that blocked vessel opened up.
Our EMS teams are equipped with cutting-edge technology, like the Lucas 3 automated CPR machine, which maintains chest compressions during transport to the hospital. And they even have the capability to administer blood in the field when needed, bringing more essential care right where you are.
We're here to serve and protect our families, our friends, our neighbors. I think that's a huge part of why we are so passionate about delivering excellent care, is because we're delivering it for our friends, for our neighbors, for our families, and we want the best care possible for you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Greg. While we have sustaining partners in Atmos Energy and Williamson Health, we have a presenting partner for Frank Talks, which is our monthly lecture series, usually held on the second Monday of the month at various locations across the community. I say usually because we are going to change a date or two in coming months. But I want to today introduce Tony Sharp, who's going to talk a little bit about Renaissance Bank. Yes.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
All right, good morning, everybody. So real quick, one of our things is understanding you as a bank. We definitely, we try to live by that, understand our clients. And just want to call, we got Tina Anderson, Bridget Fields, and Diane from our bank here. So I wanted to kind of share a few things with you real quick, and just, quick show of hands, who has ever been a victim of fraud in your bank account real quick? Just show of hands. Wow, not as many as I thought. That's pretty good. So, well, one of the things you can see here from the Federal Trade Commission, fraud is continually on the rise, and as a bank and a banker, if you've ever had to deal with it, it is not fun, and as a person who is a consumer or business owner, it's not fun to deal with fraud. And you can see here, $10 billion lost in 2023, which is up again over 2022. And just want to call out a few pieces of top fraud items you can see here: imposters, online shopping, prizes, investments, like Bitcoin, stuff like that, and of course, business and job opportunities. So I just want to make awareness around this, and there's so many things out there nowadays that can create fraud. So another quick survey, show of hands. How many of you get, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want, it might be private, but how many of you get your bank statements mailed to your house? Raise your hand. Couple people, okay. Stop it. Don't do that. Get those things online. They're a lot more secure when they come online. A lot of people, we get fraud in there. You can see the bottom three, few pieces of scamming, phone calls, social media, emails. So If you don't know how to check an email to make sure it's from the actual, I was just showing Mike Alexander how to check an email. We were talking about that. You click on the name on your phone, on your iPhone. I don't know about you Android users, but just click on the name. It'll show if it's actually from that company. So just want to bring that awareness. We see it every single day in our industry, and sometimes it's small. Yesterday I got an alert saying my debit card was compromised, and it was. And you know, if you can make those debit cards use Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, whatever you can, when you do that, that encrypts your debit card. So it doesn't actually, if you'll notice on the receipt, it will not show your actual numbers on that receipt. So use Apple Pay. Those are a lot of different ways you can do that. So that's all I got. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have to say, that sounds like a program we need to have in the next couple months, doesn't it? It sounds like a program that would be beneficial for us. We're looking at some things. We're working on our strategic plan right now and thinking about ways to reach out and engage more people. You know, 9 a.m. or 9:30 on a Monday morning may not be the best for everyone, so we may do some things that are at different times and could offer some additional or different programs, and we appreciate Renaissance and their support. So thanks to Lion Leadership Group for the coffee, McDonald's. They say they were going to, was that renovating the one on 96 West, or, because it's on the ground, it's on the ground. And you don't realize how much you miss something until it's gone. And I do miss the McDonald's. I'll just be honest. It's not on my Get Fit Franklin or Be Fit Franklin often on there, but you know, they do have good coffee. And so we appreciate them for their support. So we're going to talk about kindness and happiness. And so I've got on my Musi, Always Be Kind, and I'm going to wear that to the airport today and on the plane, and maybe that'll encourage some others to be kind and think about that. But I read this a few weeks ago, and it made me really start to think about kindness and happiness and people who are creating joy in our community. So micro acts of joy incorporated in each day can increase emotional well-being by 28%. That's your emotional well-being. No telling what it does for the person who is the recipient of that micro act of kindness or joy. So start thinking about this, and that's why we're having a program today about kindness and joy in our community and people who are helping us create it at different times in our life. So we're going to talk first. We're going to have them all come up. We're going to have Trish Cronin from the Children's Kindness Network, Jeff Atwood, who's an author from Come On Be Happy, and his books are to help you during different phases of your life. And then our friend Kelly Collins Gilfillan, who happens to be in town today, because finding happiness and resetting her life led her to be living somewhere else, but visiting Franklin and Williamson County a lot. So I'm going to have Trish and Jeff and Kelly come on up and join us here. Each of them have a microphone. And Trish, I'm going to give you this to start with. You can sit or stand, however you want to do it.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Mindy, and our sponsors, and Franklin Tomorrow. It is definitely a pleasure to be with all of you this morning. I'm Trish Cronin from the Children's Kindness Network, and the first of 3 panelists, as you heard. The next 2 will eclipse me. So, yes. You're over the moon about that? No, okay. We will, no, only cow jokes, actually. No galaxy references, no celestial references after this. But let me just start with how we would typically start if we're saying good morning to a group of students who are going to be learning about kindness through Musi the cow, our beloved iconic icon of kindness. We would say, "It is great to be here. And you know why it's great? Because you are all special and important. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, turn to the people on either side of you and tell them how special and important they are. Can you do that? Emily, you. Wow, so many special and important people. This is great. Okay. So there's more. We have an agenda of 4 items that we're going to talk some more about. First is, how are you feeling today? Second is, kindness leads to happiness. No surprise there, we just heard that from Mindy, but we'll talk a little more about that. Third, kindness can be taught. Thank goodness. Children's Kindness Network has something we can achieve, and Muzi can help. And finally, let's always be kind. All right. Now, do you all know Muzi? How many of you have encountered Muzi before? Raise hands. So most of you don't. So I think, Emily, do you agree that we need to introduce Muzi to this crowd? All right, let's introduce Muzi, because we're going to be talking a lot about her today. Muzi, come on in and meet these special and important individuals. Come on, Muzi.
Muzi knows how to be kind to the flowers and the birds and the trees, kind to herself and everybody else. She'll lend a helping hand when you need a little help. Oh, Muzi, the cow, Muzi knows how to share what needs sharing. It's always time for caring. That's what it's all about. Muzi, the cow, Muzi knows how to share what needs sharing. It's always time for caring, 'cause that's what it's all about.
All right, welcome, Muzi. You know, you're special and important too. So, let's just move to the next slide here, which I know I'm empowered to do. Oh, here we go. So, actually, I'm going to back you up. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So, the question is, how are you feeling today? Great. Now, our Muzi.org website has so many features and functions. We're just going to talk about one of them. And Emily's going to help me go to the homepage where we have an interactive cow. And if children or parents or teachers prompt a child, they can click on Muzi's heart, as Emily's going to do, and ask themselves the question, how are you feeling today? Because if children can get in touch with their own emotions and feelings and get conscious, they're going to be in a better position to understand other people's feelings and to be kind to them. So let's just hear from 3 or 4 of you. If you could be honest, you just met Muzi, you've heard me. Maybe you're getting a little anxious, maybe you're not happy. But let's just show of hands. I'd like to pick a couple of you to tell us, how are you feeling today? Anyone want to answer the question? Yes, sir.
I'm curious.
You're curious. All right.
Yes, let's be curious together. What do you want to know? Let's learn and explore together.
Perfect. This is the place to be curious and to learn more.
How are you today?
Somebody else. How are you feeling? Anyone else want to tell us? Excited. Let's see. What is Muzi
I'm
saying?
excited that you're excited. It's great to feel energy and hope.
Thank you. And one more. How are you feeling?
What are you feeling today?
Sad. I shouldn't be laughing. Yes.
Sadness can be painful, but it's better to let it out than hold it in. So let it out. I'm here to support you.
We're all here for you.
How are you today?
Okay. So you get the idea, but this is just a tool, and it's a tool that we can use to make sure we understand people's feelings. Okay, we can go back to the next slide. So as we heard earlier, kindness leads to happiness. And thank you, Emily. So there were some pictures here, and the very first was just snapped on Saturday. Did anyone by any chance attend the charity race that the Williamson County Schools high school student ran with the EIC, the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center, as the hub on Saturday to raise funds for a rehab piece of equipment at the Children's Hospital, Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital, Vanderbilt? I don't think anyone was there. Is anyone here from the EIC or Williamson County Schools? No, they're all working. Okay. That's good. That is good. But that was a great event. And one of the things that we had there was a Musi Kindness Zone, and we invited children to make cards for children in the hospital. And this little girl on the left, who did a brilliant job at age 3, was very, very happy. And those of us volunteering, and I'm sure we've all had this experience, like the volunteers on the right side, the face painter and the face paintee, were very happy as well because we were surrounded by loads of kind behaviors and happy people. When we see something kind, we actually feel better, right? And we're more inclined to be kind. When we see something happy, we actually feel happier. It doesn't have to be experienced by us directly. And kindness leads to happiness, and there's a lot of science evidence around that. I suspect maybe our other speakers will touch on this as well. But there are brain imaging studies which have shown that kind and compassionate feelings cause changes in our prefrontal cortex. And with kindness practice, that area gets more and more accessible. And being kind or even watching kindness boosts our immune system. There are key antibodies that are produced. And I'm sure you've probably heard this and maybe experienced it without putting a name on it, but when we engage in kindness acts, our oxytocin, or that love hormone, increases, and dopamine, feeling, often it's called like a helper's high in this context, dopamine kicks in, and serotonin, which regulates our mood, is improved as well. So kindness is so beneficial, and we want to make sure that children, as they're starting to develop and their brain is getting restructured at those young ages, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where they are receptive to learning new languages, that they're also receptive to learning those important social and emotional skills like kindness and empathy. Okay. So these are just a few pictures of Musi engaging at schools. That's an FSSD classroom, elementary school, where we'll read and invite Musi in and just look to inspire kindness. And the second picture was taken place at the Williamson County Animal Center. Anyone here associated with that or partner with that fine place? Yeah, some of you do, absolutely. Oh yeah, Brightstone would, yeah. They had invited a therapy dog in during some after-school programs that we were organizing there on a weekly basis. And so we talked specifically about kindness to animals. And Children's Kindness Network looks at kindness along 3 pillars. And we find that there's so much we can do in each one very broadly and very deeply. One is kindness to self. And I believe that more and more we're really focusing on that, right? Because if we're kind to ourselves and take care of ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, all different ways that nurture us, we can be a lot better for others, right? So kindness to self, we absolutely talk about at all different ages. Our sweet spot is typically the 2 to or 3 to 8-year-olds, but we certainly are increasingly working with the older children as well, and even, adult populations, depending on their needs. And then kindness to others, which I think has had a lot of play generally within schools and families, particularly to preclude bullying by understanding the respect and the civility that are so critical in relationships that we have with others at all ages. And kindness to animals would be our third theme, which really played out at the Williamson County Animal Center. And we do summer programs with them as well, so we can do a lot on the kindness pillar. And kindness to Earth, which this month in April tends to be a very popular theme. So Muzi can help with that. Let's see, I think we have 2 more slides we're going to talk through here. On this slide, I'd just like to highlight, going back to the science of kindness, one specific study that was done in 2021, where the Center for Brain Health at University of Texas at Dallas conducted a study that has been quoted and referenced many, many times since, where they took children between the ages of 3 and 5 and their parents and exposed them to a series of Muzi mini lessons of kindness that cut across those 4 pillars I mentioned, those contexts of doing things that are good for me, doing things that take care of the environment or animals or others. And they were exposed to these. It was during some pandemic time as well. And following this very rigorous study, they found that the children's level of kindness and empathy increased significantly. And the parents who engaged in these with them, their resilience improved significantly. So kindness works and Muzi's lessons in our curriculum, which we continue to update with a lot of expert help by child psychology, early child development professionals, and play professionals, is very effective. So bringing this to a close, there's someone by the name of Dr. Arthur Brooks. I don't know if any of you know him, but he is a professor at Harvard. He teaches courses on happiness. He writes a lot about happiness. He has some great podcasts, very witty, learned man. And I was going to kind of sprinkle this whole talk with a lot of his quotes, but I'll just mention one thing that's sort of an offhand comment he made, where he thinks that the secret to happiness is actually teaching happiness. So he's got a career that kind of locks him into that state. But, I think from a children's kindness perspective, our founder 25 years ago, Ted Dreyer, Farmer Ted, knew that the secret to kindness is teaching kindness, right? And that loop that we talked about, where if you are a little kind, you'll feel happier. And if you feel happier, you're going to be kinder. And if you're kinder, you're going to be happier. And then I guess I could stop now. Yes. Around the world. So bottom line is, we want you all to feel happier. So if I were to ask you now, as we've thought about kindness and saw a few kind things and heard some kind things said to us, how do we all feel right now? Little happy? Yeah, a little happy. And you're going to be kind, and you're going to get a sticker on your way out, and remember to always be kind. Thank you so much.
Ooh, always be kind.
Muzi cow. Wonderful. So we're going to work through the progression of life a little bit today. So we've talked about how our children can learn happiness, and, everyone knows that kids often teach the parent or teach the adult, whether it's recycling or being responsible in the world. So our next speaker is a Disney buddy of mine, Jeff Atwood. And Jeff, I've got these books up here for people to see, and they're beautiful, and you've got some in the back. But Jeff is here sort of just to give us, okay, let me see if I can Thank you, Muzi. All right, and Jeff, I'm going to give this to you.
Going to move this along,
You,
right?
Oh, bump, bump.
She did the eclipse, right? I mean, come on, let's be nice here. Let's be nice. We're talking about happiness and kind.
There's a level of satire or some kind of bad humor in here today that's making me laugh a lot and happy.
Thanks. Anyways, it's good to be here. These are my people, and these are the ones that made me happy. Here we go. August the 4th, 2018, I was on an airplane, Southwest Airlines, flying somewhere over Arkansas, headed to Seattle, and it just dawned on me at that moment that my daughter, Mackenzie, this is our middle daughter, Mackenzie, she was going to graduate from high school in about 9 months, and it completely freaked me out. I mean, has anyone been there, have a high school senior? I mean, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like the world is coming to an end here. And I thought, we spent 17 years bringing her to this point, and then what's she going to do next? So I thought, does she know what she needs to know? And so I, on the course of that flight and over the next 2 or 3 days, I just got out a notebook and just began writing down, just madly writing down all these things that I thought she needed to know, things that my wife and I had told her and things she'd heard from other folks. And I just wanted to make sure that she was prepared to take that next step. And so then what I did was, you know, as a teenager, she doesn't want to sit down and go, hey, Dad, tell me everything you know that's really smart, right? So what I decided to do is I sent her a text every day of her senior year of high school. This is something that you need to know. And I think that I learned so much from that exercise with her, right? I've spent my life as a communicator. I write, and I've been an executive with a couple of big healthcare organizations overseeing marketing, communications, and patient experience and all that sort of thing. And so I've spent my life around words and telling stories and sharing things. But it wasn't until that exercise where I wrote down intentionally the things that I wanted to make sure that she knew that I understood kind of why that was so important. And so, and this sort of dovetails with what our friends have already said earlier. Happiness and kindness. This is one of the sort of the things that I learned. Happiness and kindness are both the cause and the result of how you treat other people, right? It goes both ways. Happiness causes good things, kindness causes things, but it also results from how you treat other people. And so what I'd like to do is just share some thoughts about kindness and happiness, some things that I've learned, and specifically about communication, because I think at the end of the day, communication is integral. I can never say that word. I tried that over the weekend. Can someone say it right? Integral. And I like for 10 minutes I was on the phone with my daughter, It's important, right? And so I wanted to share these sort of 3 learnings for me about how communication, because I think communication is vital to happiness and kindness. And this is the first. Say the things you need to say to the people you need to say them to. So many times we sort of wait, right? You know, I'm going to wait till my deathbed to say something important, or I'm going to wait till next time I see them, or I'm going to wait, or I'm going to wait. And it doesn't work. It really doesn't work, because what happens is you steal kindness, you steal happiness from those people, right? Or you steal it from yourself. And so I think that it's super important to say the things you need to say to the people you need to say them to. And this is, again, from one of these right, thank you, Vanna. This is the first thing that I wrote on the list to Mackenzie, okay? You are loved, always, forever, no matter what. Nothing could ever change that. Everything you need to know is secondary to knowing that you are loved. And I think that's something that our kids need to hear. I think that's something we need to hear, right? I grew up in Iowa. I'm a Purdue Boilermaker grad, though. Anyone? All right, go Boilers, right? Come on, people. UConn's going to be ugly tonight, but we still believe in them. My dad, 82 years old, grew up in Iowa. I mean, he is a stoic. I mean, if you know that Grant Woods painting, That's my dad. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, when all of this began to resonate with me, I said, you know what? I'm going to tell my dad I love you. And so, because we'd always sort of been that, I knew he loved me. He knew I loved him, that whole thing. And so one time I was leaving their house, and I said, Dad, I love you. Yep. Like he affirmed it, right? I know, okay, well, now I know that, right? But so I've done that over the last few years, and now he can get it out, right? And so it's so good. But I mean, I'm an old guy now, and I still want to hear that. And then this is, I think, important for the people that are most important to us in our lives. Take some time every now and then to marvel at the fact that of all the people in the universe, you're the one who gets to spend your life with your spouse. And then this is the important part. Tell them how thankful you are. Tell them. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. The second thing is say them consistently. Are there any marketers in the room? All right, so the rule of 7, right? I mean, we got to tell people and tell them. And that's why when you see all the ads over and over and over and again, there's value in saying things consistently. Again, another old man that I ran into a while back, we were talking about relationships, and I said, do you talk to your spouse? Yeah, do you say I love you? And I said, well, we got married. I said, love you till I tell you different. All right? Fair enough. I think we need to do it a little more than that. I'm just saying, maybe it worked for him, right? Okay. So here's the thing. Get in the rhythm of talking, not texting, right? This is something we've ingrained in our girls, because it's like, no. Need to hear your voice. Get in the rhythm of talking, not texting, at least once during the day. No one is too busy. I mean, I talk to young guys getting married, and they're like, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time to go. Bruh, you literally have 30 seconds. I mean, tell me you don't have 30 seconds during the day. If you're saying you're too busy, we got a lot of other issues. Yeah, or the time you said, I'm too busy, you could have called your spouse or your partner or whomever. There is something reassuring about hearing the voice of the one you love most in life. And then with your kids, again, tell your kids you love them. Oh, thank you. Wow, you want to go everywhere with me? That's awesome. Every day. Actions are important, but words speak life. They need to hear you say the things that are most important. And then I think this is the most valuable of all of this, is say them specifically, right? You just can't be casual about saying the things that are important. Tell your friends what makes them great, and not just, you're so funny, or I love how you do your hair. I don't know why I got Mean Girls all of a sudden. Tell them how they make the world a better place. Tell them something specifically important about them that makes the world a better place. And I included a Disney reference for you here, Mindy. So we have 3 daughters. Our oldest, Madison, is 27. When she was 6 months old, she had bacterial meningitis. She functions about a 4 or 5-year-old. And so we love Disney, all things Disney. We spend a disproportionate share of our time and money at Disney. A few months ago, we were on the cruise. We love the cruise. And Madison gravitates to all the characters. She just gravitates. And before we go, every time, so we literally, in our house, we have what's called Madison's art room. And she just spends so much time making pictures to give to these characters, right? When she sees them, she walks up to them and, hi, Madison, and she gives them this picture that she spent so much time making or drawing or cutting out or whatever the case may be. So over the course of this cruise, the young lady who is Belle, she's really not Belle.
No, she is close personal friends
Close
with
personal
Belle,
friends
is
with
what
Belle,
they say,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Just so you know,
They're
they
best
say they're
buddies.
close personal friends.
So Madison and Belle, super connected. And so the last night we were on the boat, we got back to our room, and there was this envelope on the door. And it was a note from Belle. It said, Madison, thank you for making my week so special. I will never forget your kindness. Always remember that true beauty comes from within. Au revoir from now, Belle. Belle did it, right? She said it specifically. She said the things that she needed to say to the person who needed to hear it. This is the thing that we need to do over and over again. For the people that are in your lives, the people that are close to you, for your kids or whoever it may be, you need to tell them. And you can't just, love you till I die different. You need to say it more than once. And so here's our homework, okay? Here's our homework for today. Sometime today, say the phrase, I love you, to somebody. And it's easy because we do it differently, right? We go, love you, or, with the thing, or the heart emoji, or, I don't even know whatever kids do now. And I do it a ton with my kids, or my wife, who actually is a classmate of Kelly's, Williamson County classmate of Kelly's.
Bruins.
Yeah, go Bruins. Ready? Okay, here we go. But it's easy to get casual with the things that we say. But there is so much power in saying, I love you. So here's the homework. So sometime today, and then make it kind of part of your life going forward. But here's really, really important. If you start saying this regularly, make sure you preface it to people. Because if you start going up to people, I love you, they're going to go, oh, you're dying, right? You're literally going to die. You have to say, I'm not dying. I just want you to know that I love you. And I think that specificity is so important. And so say the things you need to say to the people you need to say them to. Say them consistently, and say them specifically. Say, I love you. Thanks for having me, Mindy.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Come on, be happy. Kelly Collins Gilfillan, I wouldn't even want to know how many years. If she went to Brentwood High School, I probably took her graduation photo or something and when it's in the newspaper business. But, sometimes life throws you some curves, doesn't it, Kelly?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I want Kelly has spoken to us before at Frank Talks. You may remember that she spoke to us about walking the Camino and her journey to get there and from the height of business success. And I want Kelly to talk about her new venture and how she found happiness in a life transition, right?
Ma'am.
All right.
You guys hear me okay? Okay, I'll move along then.
There you go. Nice.
I sat here this whole 25 minutes and couldn't come up with anything better than that. But I appreciate you guys coming today. It was certainly joyful for me to see old friends that I have known a long time. And thank you, Mindy, for inviting me to come. In 2017, I had a trifecta of change in my life. My youngest daughter graduated college, which was a good thing, right? Full empty nesthood. However, my 31-year marriage was ending. I was getting a divorce. And because of the divorce, I ended up selling my company, Homepage Media Group. And those were the three ways I saw myself in my life, or how I saw myself projected out into the world. And so there was this identity crisis. And I guess some people call it a midlife crisis. And I tried to find my next steps. And it started with hiking the 500-mile Camino de Santiago in Spain. About 3 weeks after I came to the conclusion that my marriage was ending, I decided to go. I spent 4 months training, and I went. In those 4 months, I was also preparing my business to run without me. And I was a sole owner. And so it was scary to walk away from that business, but it was also liberating and freeing. And to know that I had done everything I could to make that keep going. And so it took me 38 days to walk that walk. And in that time, I learned that I was capable. I was independent. I was strong. I could make decisions that were going to change my life, and it wasn't going
to end anything. It was just a continuation. Camino means the way. And what you learn on the Camino is that the way, the path, is your life. And it doesn't end in Santiago. It's something that keeps going and keeps going. And you have to decide how you're going to live it. Is it going to be a happy life? Are you going to be kind to other people? Are you going to love other people? And most importantly, are you going to love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, it's really difficult to love other people. And that's what I learned to do in those 38 days, was love myself. So I came back from the Camino, and within somewhere on the Camino, I decided I did definitely want to sell my business, that I needed some of that energy that I was putting 60, 70 hours a week into that business. I needed some of that back for myself. So a wonderful company bought my company, FW Publishing bought. I worked for them for 3 more years, and we made a lot of changes. We expanded what were city newspapers or online newspapers into a county, Williamson homepage. And I learned a lot, and it was way more fun to build new toys with other people's money, and I learned that. So, and I swore I'd never start another business, which is exactly what I did a few years later. So after the 3 years, I decided I was going to leave the news business, that I had learned all I could learn from that. I retired, and I decided to take a year sabbatical. And I traveled, I started with the Grand Canyon, then I did a sailing rally for 30 days with one of my best friends, and then I went to Buenos Aires and I learned to tango badly. I went to Portugal and I hiked another Camino called the Portuguese Coastal Camino, and came home, got my daughter married in June, and then went back to Italy in August with a friend, which was my first foray of traveling with someone since my divorce. And in all of that year, I had a lot of alone time because it was solo travel, and I started reflecting on all of the beautiful ways people had helped me in the 4 and 5 years since I got divorced, all the ways that I learned from the people in my travels, my people back home. People had loved me and loved me hard through everything I'd been through. And so I wrote a book about what to do in a big life change. And I'm talking to you adults in my book. It's called The Swipe Right Effect, The Power to Get Unstuck. And for those of you happily married people, the swipe right is what you do on a dating app when you like someone. And so what I am asking people to do, and I say this in the preface so you know it going in, is I'm asking you to swipe right for yourself, to choose yourself, to love yourself, and that gives you power. So when you love yourself and you've been giving it out to everybody else and you're not loving yourself, you cannot look in the mirror and say, I love you, Kelly. Everything is okay, Kelly. You've done the best you can, Kelly. If you can't do that, your power is somewhere else. The power that needs to be within you so that you can be kind and loving to the rest of the world is somewhere else. You have to love yourself. And so each chapter in the book is a piece of advice that somebody gave me. I'm pretty much bearing my soul in the book. I tell you how hard it was. I tell you how ugly it was, how much I was beating up on myself for what I considered a failure at the time. And I then interview the person who gave me the advice. So every chapter is the advice, my story, and the woman who gave me the advice. These are women I met on the Camino. These are soccer moms. These are my next door neighbors in Brentwood and in Franklin. These are just people that encountered me in any kind of strange, normal, or daily situation that changed my life by being kind to me and by loving me. And when I put the book out there, I traveled and did book signings. I had a wonderful book signing in downtown Franklin. Some of you that were there, thank you. And I live part of the time in Newport, Rhode Island, and I'm back here at least 1 week every month. And my parents are here, and my brother and sister still live here, but my kids are up north, which is why I ended up in Rhode Island. So I began working with women who had been through what I had been through, and started putting this advice into practice. So I created empowerment practices, I created a workbook, and now I work with women one-on-one, and I host women's retreats. So women can come and spend time working on themselves, loving each other, and loving themselves. And so I think it would be appropriate to make another challenge. Is it time? Okay. This is my challenge to you. Once you tell somebody that you love them very honestly and earnestly, I hope you can look in the mirror today and say, I love you. Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, was one of my book coaches, and I later also signed up for his group coaching, and this is how he suggests that you do it. In the evening, when you are brushing your teeth, you do it like 30 seconds, right? Because you're supposed to be able to sing happy birthday to you for as long as you brush your teeth. He says, look in the mirror earnestly and tell yourself 5 things great that happened today and how much you love yourself in the time you brush your teeth. If you do that every day, it is life-changing. I can personally attest to that. So love yourself as much as you love the others around you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you, Trish and Jeff. And many of you have met Ted Dreyer. Ted comes frequently to Frank Talks, and he's been a little under the weather, recovering now. And so I think I'm probably going to owe him a makeup chance at the microphone, but I probably won't let him hold it, okay? Because Ted will talk about that for sure. So we're going to how we're going to do this today is Trish and the folks from Musi, the Cow, and Children's Kindness Network have some books in the back, and Jeff has some books in the back. And Kelly, how does someone get your book?
It's available on Amazon. It's called The Swipe Right Effect, The Power to Get Unstuck. And the workbook is called The Swipe Right Effect Workbook.
Great. But we're going to let you maybe interact with them, talk. Jeff has some copies of his book. Trish has some materials from Musi. What we've learned today, I hope, is that we create joy in our community and take this message of happiness and kindness out as you go forward today. And we really appreciate that. So here's some upcoming events in Franklin. April 19th, Chris Whitney, that's the One Gen Away breakfast. That's right, at Liberty Hall, the Factory at Franklin. April 27th is Main Street Festival. That's coming up. Everybody knows about that one. Breakfast with the Mayors, and that's going to be April 30th at Rolling Hills. You can go to the Franklin Tomorrow website and register for that. And this is our Williamson County Mayoral Summit. All the mayors of Williamson County cities will be in attendance there. We're going to have a special breakfast, Stacked, which is a new restaurant in the Galleria, Cool Springs Galleria. It's going to be doing breakfast that morning. And so we're excited to have them give Puckett's the day off. And so we're excited to have them. If you don't already sign up, don't already follow us on social media, do so. We'll be sending you a reminder if you signed in today or attended today. We'll be sending you a reminder about these events. But follow us on social media because we're always posting about other community events and activities in the community because our mission is engage the community, foster collaboration, and then advocate for a shared vision for the future of Franklin. Everybody be kind to your eyes today. Don't look at the sun and, between 1 and 3. Don't do that. Just go out and make it a great day and make it a great day for someone else in our community. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.